Standard 9 3.5. So lesson name is Great Scientist. So we have to be discuss about there's some parts of lessons and there's questions. Have what would you like to learn about your science period? There are many things we have to learn in the science. There are different varieties of solar systems, water cycle, motors, organism, recycling materials, machines, and astrophysics. Have you ever seen to be an experience on your own? If yes, and what about? Tell me about, and if no, tell me why you are not tried. Yes, I like the bulb rising potato. What would you like to learn about the English classes? I would like to learn how to coverage fluently in English, writing stories and good essays. Inventions. Think of many as follow as you can within the 5 minutes and write them in appropriate columns. Type of machines and examples. Simple machines that are operated by hands. Screwdrivers, pincers, oars, chillies, drill machines and spanners. Machine that runs through electricity, electric motor, fans, hairs, conditioners, hair dryers and mixer oven. Electric drives devices, mobile phone, tablets, laptops, computer and speakers. Write as many as following as you can from the groups of fours and compare the list and make list of putting together in members close-up bags. Carrying him the keeping the clothes shoppings and using instead on papers bag etc. Wickers baskets, a basket of fruit grains carrying sellings of vegetable and fruits and fishes, glass bottle or jars. To keeping the jams, liquids, juice, pickles, water, drinking, for medicine, kerosene, storage and liquid. That's all you will be do others by your own. So great scientists are the preserving the never deterred by difficulties. He has to be preserved, everything has not to be lived on the specific times. थोर शास्त्रज्ञ चिकाटीने दीर्घोद्योगी कार्य करीत असतात आणि अडचणींमुळे कधीही नामविद होत नाहीत आणि त्यांनाच आपण महान आणि थोर सायन्स शास्त्रज्ञ समजतो. Michael Faraday is regarded as one of the most distinguished scientists and inventor in modern time, and his work on electricity is still a subject of studies in the form of Faraday's laws, but few knows his inspirational life stories, which is all about the courage and fighting against the odds. Michael Faraday is regarded most distinguished scientists and inventors in the time of his work, and his works on electricity as a study subject and in the form of Faraday's laws. And his stories became very inspirational and courage and fight against them. मायकल फॅरेडे हा आधुनिक काळातील नामवंत शास्त्रज्ञ आणि संशोधक मधील एक मानला जातो आणि विजेसंबंधी त्याची काही कार्य आजही फॅरेडेचे नियम या नावाने अभ्यासविषयी आहेत. मात्र ध्येय आणि प्रतिकूल गोष्टींचा सामना करणारी त्यांची स्फूर्तिदायी जीवन कहाणी फारच थोडे लोक जाणतात. Michael Faraday was born into the poverty-stricken family in the dirty London suburbs. He suffered from the speech defect as a child. He would pronounce rabbit as wabbit. He could not even say his own life names, would call himself Faraday. Other children laughed at him and teacher did not help him either. When he was 12, his mother was forced to take him out of school, thus putting on the end of the formal education. Michael Faraday became very poverty-stricken students, born in poverty-stricken in the London dirty suburbs. He had some problems in speech. His pronounced rabbit was wabbit, and he could not say his own names himself the 4 days. Children laughed and teacher could not do anything about that. At the age of 12, the mother has to be forced to take up the schools and take the formal education. लंडनच्या अत्यंत खराब उपनगरामधील दारिद्र्याच्या गांजलेल्या एका कुटुंबामधील मायकल फॅरेडेचा जन्म झाला. लहान असताना बोलण्याच्या दोषामुळे त्याला दुःख त्याला भोगावे लागले रॅबिट हा शब्द वॅबिट असा उच्चारतो आणि स्वतःचे नाव सुद्धा सांगू शकत नसे. स्वतःला तो फॅवडे फॅरेडेच्या फॅवडे म्हणत असेल आणि मुलं त्याला हसायचीत. शिक्षक त्याला काही मदत करीत नसेल. 12 वर्षाचा झाल्यानंतर आईने त्याला शाळेतून काढून टाकावे लागले आणि त्यामुळे त्याला औपचारिक रीतसर शिक्षण अशा रीतीने संपले. At 13, however, he started working with the bookbinder, binding hundreds of books during the days and staying up all the nights and read them. Reading thus became his obsessions, and one day he came across the book of electricity which had been sent to his master for binding. He started reading it and was completely hooked. That was the first introduction to the subject of electricity, which soon became the lifelong fascinations. At the age of 13, he was started the bookbinding work. Hundreds of books he has to be binding and reading that books all up to that night, reading them. Reading became the obsessions. One day he saw across the electricity. At that time, he has to be completed the introduction of the electricity, and that became the fascinating of that day. 13 वर्षाचा झाल्यानंतर त्याचे पुस्तक बांधणीच्या करण्याकरिता काम करू लागला. दिवसभर शेकडो पुस्तकं बांधायचे काम करायचे आणि रात्री ती वाचत बसे. वाचनाने त्याला पछाडले होते. एके दिवशी त्याने मालकाकडे बांधणीसाठी आलेले विजेसाठी एक पुस्तक त्याला मिळाले. त्याने ते वाचायला सुरुवात केली आणि पूर्ण केले. तो हरून गेला. तिथे वीज या विषयाची पहिलीच परिचय झाला आणि तो लवकरच त्याच्या आयुष्यातील आकर्षक ठरेल अशा गोष्टी तो करू लागला. Faraday was still poor at the 12 only. One his friend gave him the free ticket on the public lectures on the demonstration by the renowned science chemist Humphrey Davy and the London Royal Institution. Davy's work on the chemical and electricity light was a subject of conversations among the scientists at that age. So he had to be the age of 21. He became the poor at that time. His friend gave the free ticket on the lecture on demonstrations on Hempy's London's. He has to be chemist and lightning the subject and at the age of science. फॅरेडे 21 वर्षाचा झाला तरी बरीच गरिबी होती. एकदा त्याच्या एका मित्राने लंडनच्या रॉयल इन्स्टिट्यूटमध्ये प्रसिद्ध रसायनशास्त्र हॅम्पी डॅवी यांच्या सार्वजनिक भाषणाच्या आणि मोफत तिकीट दिलेत आणि डेव्हीचे रसायने आणि विद्युत प्रकाश या विषयाचे कार्य त्या काळाच्या शास्त्रज्ञांमध्ये चर्चेला विषय होता. 70 years later, across the Atlantic Ocean in the USA, the same work enabled Thomas Edison produce the first consist light bulb. So at the 70s Atlantic Oceans, USA, he enabled the work of Thomas Edison of the first bulb light. तर 70 वर्षानंतर अटलांटिक महासागरावर US कार्य थॉमस एडिसनने पहिला सततचा प्रकाश दिवा बल्ब बनवता आला. That day in 1812, Faraday was spellbound by the Davis lecture. He kept taking notes about the mysterious force of electric fluid. He was so engrossed in the lecture and that forget appealed with the rest of the crowd. When he went back his notes and were his comprehensive that he bound them into the books and meanings to give to the Davis. Same days Faraday decided that day that he didn't just want to sell a book. He wanted to be great scientist, good enough to write his own books. Davy became his role model. But there was a problem. He did not have the social status, money, or education to pursue the scientist. Faraday thought it would be wonderful if Davy became the mentor, but Davy did not agree. Initially, Faraday was not dejected but just kept trying. That's in 1812. Faraday was stubborn and Davis lectures. He impressed the lectures of Davis. At that time, he taking the notes of mysterious force of electric fluids and engrossed the forget up to appeared like the rest of the words. He went on back comprehensive notes and book, meaning gifted Davis some days. He had to be decided not to be sell the books. We have to be writing and invent as the great scientist. As Davy became the role model of Faraday's, but there was no problem in social status and money. Education pursued the scientist. Faraday's it became the wonderful days. He wants to become Davy became our guiders and teachers, but Davy did not agree initially. He has to be rejected, but not dejected by the Faraday. 1812 मधील त्या दिवशी देवीच्या भाषणातून फॅरेडे मंत्रमुग्ध होऊन झाला. विद्युत प्रवाहाच्या गूढ तीव्रतेविषयी त्याचे टिपणे घेत होता. तो भाषणात इतका तल्लीन झाला होता की लोकांबरोबर टाळ्या वाजवायचे सुद्धा तो विसरला होता. तो परत आला तेव्हा त्याची टिप्पणी इतकी विस्तृत होती की एखाद्या दिवशी डॅव्हीला तो भेट द्यावी म्हणून त्याने ती एका पुस्तकात सारखी बांधणी केली. फॅरेडेने त्या दिवशी ठरवले की आता पुस्तक विकायणार नाही तर भला मोठा शास्त्रज्ञ व्हायचे. स्वतःची पुस्तके लिहिण्याइतका चांगला डॅव्ही हा त्याच्या पुढील आदर्श बनला. पण एक अडचण होती. विज्ञानाचा अभ्यास करण्यासाठी त्याकडे ना पैसा किंवा शिक्षण ना होते आणि त्याला समाजात काही प्रतिष्ठा होती. फॅरेडेला वाटत होते की डॅव्ही जर आपला पाठ राखला किंवा मार्गदर्शन केले तर किती छान होईल. पण डॅव्ही प्रथम तयार झाला नाही. फॅरेडेने हातात झाला नाही आणि प्रयत्न मात्र करीत राहिला. Density has the strength plane in the store for him. A few years later, the chemical explosion happened inside the Davis lab, and he was temporarily blind. He now needed an assistant with an excellent memory to help him. He was reminded of Faraday and decided to hire him as the secretary. Davy never believed the Faraday could do anything in the field of science going by the social status and educations. He therefore dismissed Faraday's aspirations and advised him to stick the bookbind. But Faraday was restlessness. He worked day and night and learned as much as he could about Davy's experience. Soon Faraday became the indispensable to Davis and was promoted to be lab assistant. This was his first step toward the scientist career, though might of his job now was cleaning job. At least God see him Davis leading experiments. So there is an destiny came in some of the days past. There is an explosion in that lab. Davy became the blind temporarily. At that time, he needs an assistance. At that time, that Faraday has to be hired as a secretary of Davis, and he had to be believe that Faraday has to be given the job in Davis lab. And now the social status and educations not doing anything. Therefore, he dismissed Faraday's aspirations and realistic bookbinding. Now he has to be experiments. He could see the experiment of Davis in that lab, and that became promoted as a lab assistant of some days. And now the first step toward the scientist career as a lab cleaning and leading to the experiments. नियतीच्या मनात त्याच्यासारखं काही वेगळी योजना होती. काही वर्षानंतर डॅव्हीच्या प्रयोगशाळेत रासायनिक स्फोट झाला आणि आणखी काही काळासाठी तो अंध झाला आणि आता तो उत्तम स्मरणशक्ती असलेल्या सहाय्यकाची गरज होती. त्याला फॅरेडेची आठवण झाली आणि त्याला आपला सेक्रेटरी म्हणून नेमायचं त्याने ठरवलं. सामाजिक आणि दर्जा आणि शिक्षण पाहता विज्ञान क्षेत्रात काही करू शकेल असा डॅव्ही अजिबात विश्वास नव्हता. म्हणून त्यांनी फॅरेडेची महत्त्वाकांक्षा त्यांच्या मनातून काढून टाकली आणि पुस्तक बांधण्याच्या कामातून चिटकून राहण्याचा सल्ला दिला. परंतु फॅरेडे कणखर होता. दिवसरात्र काम करून डॅव्हीच्या प्रयोगाबद्दल शक्य तेवढे शिकून घेतले आणि लवकर डॅव्हीला फॅरेडेचे असणे अत्यावश्यक बनले. त्याने त्याला प्रयोगशाळा सहाय्यक म्हणून बढती दिली. फॅरेडेचे विज्ञानातील कारकीर्द पाहिले होते. अधिकतर काम जरी प्रयोगशाळेचं स्वच्छ करण्यात होतं तरी निदान डॅव्हीचे काही मुख्य प्रयोग त्याला पाहता आले. तर अशा पद्धतीने तो डॅव्हीचे एक्सपेरिमेंट्स तो बघत होता. आणि एक विद्यार्थी ज्याला बऱ्याच अशा अडचणी त्याच्या बालपणापासून वयाच्या 12व्या वर्षी त्याला शाळा सोडावी लागली. 13व्या वर्षी त्याने पुस्तक बांधणीचं काम केलं. रात्रंदिवस पुस्तकं वाचायची, दिवसा पुस्तक बांधायच्या आणि रात्री तो त्याचा अभ्यास करायचा. 21व्या वर्षी तो गरीबच होता, पण त्याला 10वी भेटला. तिथं त्याने ते लेसन ऐकलेत, पर्टिक्युलरली पीच ऐकलेत. आणि त्यानंतर 1872मध्ये त्यांना ते स्पीच त्याला ते आवडलं. आणि नंतर त्याच्यावरती त्यांनी अभ्यास केला. खऱ्या अर्थाने तेव्हापासून त्याला वाटू लागले की आता आपण पुस्तकच बांधायचं नाही, तर एक सायंटिस्टसुद्धा व्हायचं. पण काही वर्षानंतर रासायनिक स्फोट त्याच्या 10वीच्या लॅबमध्ये झाल्यामुळे त्याला तिथं नोकरी म्हणून मिळाली साफसफाईची. पण तर त्याच्यानंतर त्याचं काम बघून, अभ्यास बघून त्याला लॅब सहाय्यक अशी त्याला काम मिळालं गेलं. आणि बाकीचे उर्वरित फॅरडे कशा पद्धतीने त्याचं जीवन यशस्वीपणे बनवलं ते आपण पुढच्या लेसनमध्ये बघूयात. So now let us stop here with that lesson. Thank you.